Good stuff, eh? Is this useful? Who can see themselves using this stuff at home to make their life easier, more fun, enjoyable? Get some revenge. Oh, yeah. Justice for the people. Or revenge for the ones that deserve it. Or just calm a life. Eat more. Coming up.
It's not just more fun to be able to present that way or to interact that way or to connect that way. It's a lot more fun for them too.
For sure it is.
I mean, they're engaged. They're understood. Hell, they get to buy from somebody who likes them.
Right. And remember, how many times have you bought stuff from your friends, not because they're trying to sell you something, you just got something that was so cool, said, look at this thing, look how amazing it is, and you go, wow, where can I get one of those? Right? They've sold you just based on their enthusiasm. It's just much more fun that way. They've told you, remember the irresistible induction? They've just done the irresistible induction equivalent of a sales process. They've given you their values, they've given you how they feel about it, so much so that you've adopted their values and just went ahead and bought it. So absolutely right. I agree with you. Thank you for that. Cassie?
I just wanted to kind of point out something that Mickey pointed out to me, which actually really helped me with this exercise. Because at one point I started to veer off and I started going more into, as he said, features versus benefits.
Right.
I started to list off...
Let me just pause you there. For those of you who don't know, features is basically saying, here's, the car has wheels and a knobbly Tony stick and it's got a shiny belt buckle on the front. Those are things that it has, but it doesn't mean much, not very significant. Whereas benefits, on the other hand, are things that it can do for you, right? The shiny belt buckle is going to save your life. The nice little twiddly bit means you can turn the radio on without thinking too much about it, and so on. So it makes your life easier in that sense. Carry on.
So yeah, even though the features did have to do with his values, I wasn't putting it so much in a benefit term, so still felt like I was doing an intellectual list.
Right. And this is the key thing. Remember, this is not about the intellect. What sells? What persuades? Emotions. That is the key thing. If you get to the emotional things, this is why we're looking for emotional language, right? Values are based on goals, on what they're gonna get. Not, we don't want to have like a box full of stuff. We want to have what the box full of stuff will do for us, right? So that's an excellent point to make. Thank you.
So yeah, I thought everyone might like that too.
It's a very valuable point to make, so thank you. Coming up.
It was really amazing to have somebody, even though this is an exercise, listen to what I wanted and to understand what I wanted and needed and look to provide that. It's like, oh, wow, here's somebody who really wants to help me.
Right.
Yeah. And my partner turned around afterwards, we talked about that, and he said, if I could only find a real estate agent that would do that.
Anyone a real estate agent here? Just go and have a chat to him. He's looking for you. And before we come on to you in a minute, let me just ask you this. Like, those of you who have been the subject in this case, the person doing the buying, would you agree with the observation there that it's pleasant to be finally understood by someone? They get it? It's kind of nice, isn't it?
Yes.
Let me ask you this. Who here is in a relationship? Do I need to say anything else? Can you see a certain benefit emerging from this that is maybe a little unexpected but could really transform your life in a significant and very pleasant way? Anyone can think of something just possibly just off the top of their head somewhere, just out on a limb? Because I can't. Carry on.
My epiphany is that while conducting
just a little closer to the mic.
My enlightenment was while conducting the exercise with my partner, darn it, I could apply this to myself.
Hell yes. Absolutely.
Which I will be doing this evening.
Very good, right? Because think about it, this is how you can also sort your own priorities out and your own motivations. Anyone here suffer from procrastination? Right? What if you could guide yourself through a list of distinguishing between where your leverage points, what is this thing going to actually do for you in the end? If you find enough juice, enough value in the exercise, then you'll end up in doing it. If there isn't any value in it, you may as well finally realize that it's something you're just never going to do, so why torture yourself about it anyway? Right? unless it's something like taxes, in which case, hopefully the threat of prison will, motivate you enough to actually do them at some point. And I'm not working for the government, honestly. Go ahead.
So I encountered like the classic conundrum when doing sales where I met all his values and I seemed to have everything that he wanted for the vehicle, and he agreed with all that, and then I tested all that again to make sure he was 100%. And I said, so are you ready to make a commitment to buy that car? And he said, well, I want to go look around. You're the first place I came to.
Excellent. So you missed one thing, haven't you? Well, there's a couple of things. Number one.
I did say something after that, which I don't know if it was the best thing to say.
Okay, what did you say?
Well,
screw you, buddy. I'm going to kick you in all this work.
well, I said the classic thing that you hear when sales, which is the pressure. They say, well, this is the, our most popular model. It's going to be the last one we're going to have on the lot. And
well, here's a couple of things. First of all, you remember before the exercise I said, I honestly don't care whether they buy or not. That's not the purpose of the exercise, right?
Right.
But seeing as it's come up, we may as well start dealing with it. You've just basically got an objection that had nothing to do with the stuff you've already talked about, right? One of the ways you can test before you get to that point, by the way, is you can list, so you want X, Y, and Z. Is that right? Which is, of course, you did. Now, one thing I like to do at that point is repeat it, but add another criteria there. So you want X, Y, and Z. And if you have X, Y, and Z, that basically means you can you'll be so happy you'll be getting it right now. Isn't that right? Now, one of two things will happen. They'll go, yes, that's exactly what I want. I found what I want, and it's got X, Y, and Z. I'm going to buy it straight away. Or they'll go, no.
that's the most likely response.
And, well, I wouldn't say most likely. It depends on the individual and the context. So let's always figure out context.
Sure.
In your field, it may be a very likely response, because we talked about you have certain types of problems that come up over and over again, so you may well be right about that. I suspect you are, by the way.
Well, I just kind of use it the way I am because I'm very, suspicious when I go to dealerships.
So the way you deal by neutralizing up front, so if you find something that has X, Y, and Z, then that'll be basically that's what you're going to buy. As soon as there's no point going any further at that point. Is that right? So as long as it has X, Y, and Z, that's it. You go and look for it. If they're at that point and they say, you go, well, what's the hesitation about? And they might say something like, well, I haven't really looked around. I want to make sure I get the right deal. Oh, so it's important to you to get a good deal. Is that right? So what does getting a good deal mean to you? I mean, how is that important to you? Well, I don't want to waste money. I don't want to feel like I've been had. I understand. You want to make sure that you're not being taken advantage of. Is that right?
Well, I want to go look around and see if there's any lower prices.
Right. You want to see if there's any lower prices, right? Mm-hmm. You want to look around and see if there's any lower prices. Now, was price part of X, Y, and Z?
No.
No. Right, so you're telling me if you have something that's X, that has Y, that has Z, and it has the right price for you, then that's pretty much what you're looking for, isn't that right?
Right.
Right. So, and then you can handle it in kind of different ways, and this is more kind of constructing the offer. One is the guarantee. Well, how about this? You can get if we find you something that's X, Y, and Z at the right price range for you, and you get it right now, and sometime in the next, I don't know, week or two, I mean, how long would you be looking for these things? Next couple of weeks?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah? So if in the next couple of weeks, you find something at a better price somewhere else, come back and we'll refund you the difference. How's that?
It sounds excellent.
Right? Because then you don't miss anything. And then, you know what? You can even have the ease, let's say the peace and tranquility is part of this thing. Then you can have that peace of mind. They don't even have to go and have the hassle of like searching around the place. You can just look on the internet, or you can just drive around. If you glimpse something, you can take advantage of the offer. All we ask is that if you find something, you just show us some proof of what the price really is. I'll refund it, no worries, right? Now most people will not follow up on that, just because they'll feel good now that they've done it, right? And by the way, if they do, then you have got to be good to your guarantee. You made a promise, so you follow up on it. Personally, I have no issues making that. Why? That transaction. Why? Because if price is that important to him, and I can do that, then I can do it. And if I can't, sure, knock yourself out. Go somewhere else.
Same question.
Same question.
Exactly same. The point is, if they really haven't seen another dealers, 90% will go to check. And this is small point.
So if they haven't seen other dealers, 90% will go out to check anyway. So having a guarantee actually inoculates them.
It's very important to catch this moment to little bit to force them to buy. But how?
Well, we just talked about it. It's not about forcing them to buy. This is about making it easy for them to buy.
They will not return. Then you send them.
No, exactly. The question here is they will not return. If they go to look somewhere else, they usually won't return. They'll buy exactly the same car, probably the same price, maybe a little bit more expensively because it's not worth saving $100 to go back to the first place, somewhere else. So it comes right down to the values again. Price is value. And it's not actually the price that's the value, it's getting a good deal that's the value. If you can make sure they feel that they're getting a good deal right now, then they'll buy it right now. So what is it that makes you want to go and look somewhere else? Well, I want to make sure that nothing cheaper is somewhere else. Oh, so it's about not spending more on this car than you have to. Is that right? Correct. Excellent. So if you had a guarantee that this is the absolute lowest price available anywhere for the next, say, 2 or 3 weeks, however long you'd be looking, then you would get it right now, would you?
Your first garage which they came.
Say again?
Your first garage which they came. They didn't have chance to.
That's fine. You've been the first garage. We've already dealt with that. The point is, the only reason for going somewhere else might be price. It might be something else, right? It's part of their values. If you take care of that value, they'll buy right now. Exactly what we did with, sorry, what was your name in the back there? Eric, thank you. It's exactly what we did with Eric. We've taken care of the problem. The value is, can I get this cheaper somewhere else? Great. If you find it cheaper somewhere else, we'll refund you the difference. So you've not lost anything. That was the guarantee we just talked about, right? The point here is, you need that commitment again, don't you? If you have X, if you have Y, if you have Z, is that everything you need to have to get this thing right now, to get something right now? If we don't have it, by the way, I'll happily send you away. But if we do have X, something that has X, Y, and Z, is that everything you need? No. What else is there? I want to check around for price and so on. Great. What will that do for you? It ensures I have the lowest price. Fine. So if I can ensure you in a way that will satisfy you that this is absolutely the lowest price, would you be happy with that? Yes. Of course, I still have to make sure that you're totally comfortable that there's no way you can get it cheaper than this somewhere else. Right? Yes.
So it's always cheaper somewhere else, and you can't keep.
It's always, well, yes and no. I mean, there's other ways of dealing with that. The point here is, let's not get stuck up on the whole thing too much. The point thing is, if you have the value is price, the guarantee will take care of it. If the price is not that important, you can elevate some of the other value and say, look, you have things here you can't find anywhere else, right? Does that make sense to you guys? And the more unique your business is, by the way, the easier it gets to do that. So carry on, Alex. Sorry about that.